Good evening, Keto and Wrestling family. MATTROISE here with another live stream tonight of Dark Side of the Ring. What happened to Doink the Clown? We're going to find out live tonight. And please allow me to be your eyes and ears for this broadcast, and I'll let you know what's going on. Hello, everybody. We are live. What's going on, everybody? Hello, Rorito, Michael Maroney, your boy Yoda. What's going on, everybody? We are live at Dark Side of the Ring. What's going on?
The World Wrestling Federation for over 50 years.
Vince McMahon got this gimmick, Doink. And he's like, oh, I know the perfect person to do this. And he told Matt, you're going to make this character work for me. And, I mean, look what he did.
Why make children cry? What does that get you?
Matt was a maniac. Maniac Matt was a very fitting name.
Maniac Matt Bourne.
Matt.
He's a maniac.
He fired up, brother, but he was solid. Before putting on the clown suit, Matt Bourne was a second-generation wrestler with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove.
Yes, baby. That's right.
But despite his success as one of the WWF's most iconic stars, Matt's bad decisions and bad habits would continue to haunt him.
Everybody has problems out there in the real world. It's no different in the world of professional wrestling.
I can just see him in the back, having a cigarette, like Krusty. Oh yeah, I whooped his ass, didn't I?
No silver lining here. His demons get the best of him now, and he's all downhill. When he did drugs, he was completely different than today. He liked oxys, he liked steroids, he liked cocaine, and I didn't even know he was on crack.
A clown in the ring whose violent tendencies ran deeper than the grease paint.
When you see a headline about Doink the Clown being on drugs, fighting, you just think he's a terrible person. I tried to make him realize that you don't have to do drugs, you don't have to get violent, we all know you're tough. Just be you. Because I did though.
And in the end, his tragic death would leave some still looking
Oh,
for
he died at
answers.
55.
wants to believe that it was an accident. I don't believe it. There was 110% foul play.
All right, let's see what happens here on Dark Side of the Ring. Hello, everybody. I'll be answering all your comments in the commercial break. Any questions you have, leave them in the comments.
God, every time I put this on, it's weird. I get these mixed feelings about it, you know. I love it, you know, I mean, at one time I thought I had the best job in the world. Bad thing about it was I was pretty ignorant. I thought, man, this is the way it's going to be, you know. I've done this and, you know, nothing's forever. Definitely not this character, man.
He's right.
I mean, this is the biggest crowd in history. 1.2 million. Nobody wants to lose in front of that many people. Absolutely. Let's go up to Howard.
WrestleMania 1.
WrestleMania, do you know who fought Ricky Steamboat?
It was my dad, wasn't it? Yeah, I watched it. It
Matt
was
Bourne.
phenomenal.
From Portland, Oregon, Matt Bourne.
Matt Bourne looks in good shape himself. You know, he's a second-generation wrestler.
He just, no offense to Steamboat, like, he was obviously good, but my dad just killed it. Like, the way he hit the ropes, the way he hit the floor, like, I actually believe that they beat each other up.
Matt Bourne is not done yet.
My dad loved his job. He didn't just do it to be famous. He actually loved what he did, and he was so freaking good at it. My name's Tegan Osborne, and I'm the daughter of Matt Osborne, Doink the Clown.
Steamboat is, here he comes. Wow, from 15 feet across the ring. Got it.
I actually met Matt in '93 in Elwood City. He had just gotten fired from WWE. He definitely looked rough. Looked like he partied a lot, put it that way. And when I first met him, he's like, I'm Doink the Clown. I'm like, what do you go to kids' birthday parties? And he's like, pro wrestler. And I'm like, yeah, that shit's all fake. But Matt just made it look so real to me. My name is Michelle James, and I was married to Matt Osborne until his death. We weren't together, but we were friends. And we have 2 kids. You know, the other women that married him obviously for the money. I didn't. Like, I loved this man. I really did. He was 37. I was 21. So my first impressions were, wow, this guy's old. But he was still good at it.
Here's Barnes.
Matt was hugely influential, not just to me, but by extension anyone who ever saw my work and liked it is in a way admiring the work of Matt Bourne. My name is Mick Foley. I'm a 3-time WWE champion, known as the Hardcore Legend, and Matt Bourne was a colleague and a friend of mine. I saw in him what I hope to one day be. You don't just play a character, you inhabit the character. You had to believe it yourself. He was a 2nd-generation wrestler. That respect had been instilled in him by his dad, Tough Tony Bourne.
Tony was quite content with being a Portland wrestler, and he was proud of it. Until this day, if you say Tough Tony Bourne, everybody in Oregon knows who he is. Matt grew up with his dad, actually, because his mom and dad divorced when he was 10. He remembers the day they split up. His mom said, "You go with your dad, because I don't want that little bastard." And that stayed in Matt's head probably till the day he died. He had so much anger in him and passion in him. Well, I would consider him similar to the Incredible Hulk, yes. Like, that was just my dad. He was 6'1". He was just thick. His hands were thick, his neck was thick. Everything about my dad was just bigger.
I don't know whether his dad's legacy helped or hindered Matt, but it was a pretty big name to live up to. It's difficult being the child of a wrestler.
I'll be honest with you, it hasn't been easy being your son, being the son of Tough Tony Bourne.
Okay, we got Dad and his dad, Tough Tony Bourne and Matt Bourne. Yep. 2
Wow.
legends that are no longer here, but this is one of my favorite pictures because he just looks happy.
Matt was solid. He was of an era where you laid it in and you'd make people believe. Matt made you work in the ring. The term that's come to my mind is whirling dervish. He sold pain differently, and he was in constant motion.
Well, I certainly think Matt's father had an influence on making Matt tough. My name is Dr. Tom Pritchard, and I first met Matt Bourne in the early 1980s. Tommy Pritchard! Matt could be abrasive. He could be confrontational. he could be out of his mind. We were both young in the business back then, but Matt had grown up in it. He learned a lot of it through his father, but his father came up through the ranks where these guys were even more insane. So Matt's learning from his dad how to handle conflict, and not everybody would appreciate that.
Well, I don't think any father could be any prouder of the son than I am of mine.
After establishing himself in Portland, Matt begins a tour of the territories that make up the wrestling world, building a name and reputation across the country. Matt Bourne did the regional territories.
Introducing Matt Bourne.
And he got over everywhere he did it. He got over in Portland.
Tony Bourne and Matt Bourne.
He got over in Texas.
Texas Heavyweight Champion Matt Bourne.
He got over in Carolinas.
Well, first off, I gotta say, Matt Bourne and I, from the time I met him, did not get along. He was a bully, in my opinion.
A hacksaw. Oh,
Hey, folks,
remember they had
WWE Hall of Famer,
a shoot
Hacksaw
match.
Jim Duggan from the golden age of wrestling. Mid-South at that time was a snake pit of tough guys. And back then, 6-man tags were pretty big. The Freebirds were really, really hot. Of course, the Von Erichs were hot. So Bill Watts decided to put together a 6-man tag. And of course, he had 2 second-generation guys with Matt Bourne and DiBiase, and they obviously saw something in me and put me with those guys who were already pretty established and formed the Rat Pack.
What's all on one? We're the Rat Pack, man.
Every night you're throwing punches, you're blocking punches, you're getting potatoed, We weren't the baby face heels or the crybaby heels. We were the kick butt heels.
It's busted loose again.
All three were incredible performers, incredible workers.
Though they didn't have a chance against us. Matt seemed to have a lot going for him, but he was always fighting those demons.
This Bourne is a very aggressive wrestler.
Oh, beautiful suplex!
I only knew Matt Bourne through reputation. Hi, this is B. Brian Blair, retired professional wrestler. I heard that Matt was a product of the Portland territory. That's about all I knew about Matt until we had met in this bar. The place was packed, full of the boys. And Matt comes up to me, Matt Bourne now, he's new in the territory, and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, why are you messing with my girl?" I looked at Matt and I said, "I'm not messing with your girl, Matt. I don't have a girlfriend here. I don't know what you're talking about." And he seemed like he was a little, jacked up, just very big eyes. And I kind of think that Matt wanted to establish himself as a tough guy. And he thought that I was going to be the guy that he was going to establish himself on. So all of a sudden I turn around and Matt hits me from behind.
Ooh.
And he goes to suplex me. And when he did, I turned in midair and landed on top of him. And when I was on top of Matt, he grabbed my ears and he's pulling my head down. He's got his teeth wide open. I can still see his teeth. He's getting ready to bite my nose. And as he goes to bite my nose, I saw his lips sticking out, so I went down and bit his bottom lip right off and spit his lip off.
Ooh.
And so I'm on top of him and I punch him and he's like a zombie, and I thought it was over. A few minutes later, he comes back, jumps on me again. I wind up beating him up really good this time. I mean, I hammered this guy. How he ever got up, I don't know. He was live. I mean, all the way live. This was unhuman. And a little while goes by now, and people are buying me drinks, and they're laughing, and all of a sudden, I can't believe it, freaking Matt jumps on me again. He's all bandaged up. This time, as I'm trying to drag him towards the door, he hooked my right leg somehow, and I fell forward. And as I fell forward, I felt him on my back, and then I felt a hand like reaching for my eyeball.
Oh, shoot.
And there's Ivan Koloff right at the doorway, and Ivan kicked Matt's hand and said, "No eyes," which I'm very grateful for, because Matt could have pulled my eyeball out. I mean, he was like electricity. He was bleeding all over the place, from his eyes, from his nose, from his mouth. I guess if you have the right drugs in you, they can obviously make you superhuman.
Thanks, Hunter.
It's not that you.
Matt's violent behavior outside the ring is already causing problems with his co-workers, but an incident at ringside will bring his time in the Rat Pack to an end.
Matt Bourne would rather get in there and kick somebody in the teeth as a man who has been well schooled. There was Monroe, Louisiana coming out of the ring, and again, I'm 280 pounds, I'm jacked up, I'm pushing 505 on the bench, I'm blown up, I'm blowing snot and steam and sweat. I'm coming out of the ring, I just got done kicking butt. I'm going through the crowd, boom, I get popped.
Whoa.
We're bad guys. People didn't like us back then, brother. They hated us, Boom, I popped the guy right back. He went down, I kept on going. But when he went down, Matt put a boot to him. Broke his right front orbital lobe.
Oh.
I kicked him so hard his eyeball fell out.
Oh, shoot. Damn, this is getting dark this episode. All right, everybody, we are live. Let's see. What kind of questions you guys have for me? If you could be in 3 movies, which ones would you want to be in? Fast 11, Fast 12, and Fast 13. Top 5 comedy movies of all time. The Couch Trip, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Home Alone, Uncle Buck, and I'd have to go with one more. That's a good one. What's up, Maroney? I'll have to get back to that one. If you could invite 3 wrestlers to Keto, who would they be and why? Keith Lee, Chris Jericho, and Otis, because these guys need it. They gotta lose some weight. Who do you have winning Money in the Bank? Maroney says. We have, I have to go with Io Sky and LA Knight as of right now. What's up, Danny? What were my original thoughts on Doink and Dink? I thought it was amusing, to say the least. I should do the Doink theme every time Boots joins the stream. That would be cool. What's up, rapper? Does Doink remind me of anyone on the stream? Not really, because you know Doink was a dark character, believe it or not. So not really. I don't think any of you guys are truly dark like that. Would Boots be a better clown or a mime if I had to pick one? I'd say a clown. Will I do Collisions Saturday, or will you do tomorrow's show on the other channel? I'm not sure yet. On MJ Wrestling Shoots, I'm not sure yet, but I probably won't. It won't be a regular thing. Oh, the ref was Nick Patrick, who claimed he got hepatitis while working in WWE. That's a shame, you know, that really is a shame. What's up, Aaron Hunter, Seth Rollins? Season 2 of the podcast, Against the Grain. I don't know, Roy. Honestly, I gotta see what's I gotta see what's working, and then take it from there. What's up, Cameron Crone?
The guy, he sued me, he sued Matt, and he sued the company.
Wow.
And I asked him, I said, did you go to jail? He was like, no, I didn't get in trouble at all.
Matt got fired, Duggan was kept, and I think that's where the hard feelings might have come out on Matt's side.
Bill Watts used me as an example. This is how you take care of the business, you know. And I was gone, you know. All of a sudden, I was a bad guy.
Though Matt leaves Mid-South under a cloud, his talent and connections land him a job with the World Wrestling Federation. But less than a year into his contract, he's fired once again, this time for drug use.
Uh-oh.
I don't think Matt ever wrestled sober. He was always snorting coke. I mean, he'd have to start his day smoking weed. Maybe sometimes pain pills if he had them. I think it's the lifestyle. You know, they would go out and drink. Well, that would lead to this. Oh, let's try that.
In spite of the setback, Matt lands on his feet again as he's hired by Ted Turner's World Championship Wrestling and given a gimmick inspired by his Northwest roots.
Big Josh was a lumberjack. That was his character. He was kind of a bad guy, but yet in a sweet way. My name is Maria, and I am Matt Bourne's ex-wife from way back when. I was with a friend of mine, and we were in a match, and Matt evidently sent one of the security guys out to get me, said he wanted to meet me. So I went back, and he introduced himself and invited my girlfriend and I out for a drink. He seemed nice. He was very cordial. It was pretty fast. It was probably within about 3 months that he asked me to move down. So I quit my job and I moved. You know, I want the whole thing. I want the wife, the kids, things like that.
What was Matt's emotional state when, like, his first daughter was born?
Well, I was to be induced in the hospital, so I had an appointment to go in at 10:30 in the morning. Matt went out the night before and never came home.
Oh.
He showed up just before my daughter was born. High, a little drunk, but he showed up. When he was with WCW, he had an offer from Vince McMahon, so he took that job.
With a second chance at the WWF, Matt lands yet another opportunity to reinvent himself.
From what I understand, they created Doink together. Doink was a clown. Doink was a crazy-looking clown with green hair.
When I first heard of how Doink the Clown came about, I thought it made perfect sense because Hawk from Road Warriors was looking at Matt because Matt, you know, smoking a cigarette after his match, boot half unlaced, his hair all a mess, and he's sweating, and it's like, we got our own Krusty over there. Krusty the Clown.
I can pull a better cartoon out of my ass.
Krusty.
Hey, whoa! That's not what I would think of as an ideal character for a wrestler, but seemed to take off pretty good.
As far as technical wrestling is concerned, knowing holds, knowing counters, and what have you, Doink is right up there with the best of them. Doink the Clown, considered one of the greats, but why dress up in this ridiculous-looking outfit? What does that get you?
I think the little ones were scared, like this evil but happy clown.
The demented clown, I mean, the demented clown ought to be kind of a scungy son of a bitch, you know? I mean, I've been around enough guys in the wrestling business that I know how to portray that. I can't criticize anybody with a 2x4 and a hoe. Whatever works. I mean, and Doink got over pretty good.
As soon as I heard that Matt Bourne was going to WWE, not as a clown, but as an evil clown, I thought, he's going to sink his teeth into this.
The clown having fun. If they don't have a sense of humor, that's their problem. If I laugh, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Doink was his favorite.
My dad was just goofy. He looked scary, but he was like a big, goofy teddy bear. So that also probably helped him do Doink, because I see some of that when he wrestles, and I'm like, damn, like I don't think that's Doink, I think that's my dad. And he would just look in the mirror and kind of practice saying this and saying that.
I am no more than an instrument of nature, a product of my environment.
It was a gimmick, but Matt breathed life into this gimmick. I did not like a lot of what WWE was doing at that time, but I did like Doink the Clown.
Well, by God, I may be a clown, but I'm going to rub your face in the mat. I'm going to beat you up, and it's going to be funny to me.
WrestleMania 9, it was freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, that,
Doink is wrestling.
one of my favorite WrestleManias.
Go underneath the stage, and all of a sudden, this other Doink the Clown pops up. They beat the shit out of Crush at the end, and I'm like, holy shit, like that came out of nowhere, and then they did the mirror.
He felt like, he don't know why Vince did that. He felt like he was being set up for failure. Man, he was right, though. He called it.
As Doink the Clown rules the WrestleMania ring, the inner struggles of Matt Bourne will soon bring his turn in the spotlight to an end, even as Doink lives on.
Wow, this episode is getting real juicy, you know? All right, everybody. My favorite moment of Doink the Clown, Garrett Light says, well, it's probably, that was one of my favorite moments, actually, with WrestleMania 9. When there turned out to be two Doinks. Roy says, can I do themes, a King of Themes Day sometime as this year's King of the Ring? I don't know what that means, but okay. I'll see what I can do. Doink reminds me of Krusty the Clown. Well, they just said that, Rory. Michael Maroney, how's Poppy? Poppy's doing very good. He just tried his new soap out and he loves it. Rory asks, how is Lady Elaine? She's doing great. You look like I'm enjoying this episode. Yeah, it's a good episode. Absolutely, it's a really good episode. You know, Doink, he's definitely a character I grew up watching. So I'm actually a little pretty enthralled by this episode. Junkyard Dog, you know, I don't know enough about his stature in wrestling. I mean, I know of him. I know he was a prominent wrestler in that time period, the golden era. However, I don't have any profound memories of Junkyard Dog. Would you do an episode on Abdullah? Abdullah the Butcher is a just the fakest person I've ever seen. He's a fake dude. And unfortunately, it's a shame that he was on that episode with Bruiser Brody. My reaction when Doink returned to face Heath Slater. I don't recall that encounter, but I bet it was funny. What's up, Brian Campbell? What's going on, bro? Any other questions you guys have? I mean, I'm at your disposal. Absolutely not, Roy. I don't get tired of anyone's questions. In fact, I am honored to have questions by you and anyone else who has questions. It's an honor to have that. See, Alan wished he had fans like you, Rory, on his channel, because I don't think many of his fans even supported him on his live stream when I was there. The IWC, I don't know what that is either, Dro. Rory asks, what are your top 5 most wanted treasures of all time? Most wanted treasures? It's a good one. You know, we're going to have to go back to that.
Wrestling fame, his demons threaten to destroy everything he's worked to create.
There were times when he would take off, go somewhere, didn't see him for 3 or 4 days. It happened a lot. He was fired for drug abuse. He tested dirty and Vince let him go. And tried to blame everyone else except himself for that, but I wasn't surprised.
We're staying in Boston and smoking some weed in the hotel, and I was fired, period.
Why was I doing the drugs? That's what I did. That's what addicts do.
As he would tell it, he lost his job and I left him because he no longer had his job, but that wasn't the case. He started to get really angry and drank a lot more, seemed to be going out a lot more, and I did know he was doing a lot of coke. Became very physically abusive to me and my daughter. He was sitting on the couch, he was a smoker, and he was just complaining and bitching and, you know, about this and that, and then he would just take cigarettes and he was throwing these cigarettes, lit cigarettes at me, you know, and came over and he grabbed me and pulled me off the chair with my daughter in my arms. She was only a couple months old. She went flying, and that's when I knew I can't do this, and I can't do this to her. And I packed her up, clothes on her back, one bag, and drove off. I tell people the story and they're like, what? Really? You were what? You were married to who? A lot of people, when you tell them that, they're impressed. And it's like, you know, don't be impressed. It's not a good story. Not a good story at all.
I mean, he literally had $1 million home being built. They had just moved into it. He had his bathtub engraved with 18-karat gold Doink. He was still proud of Doink, but he really struggled. At the end of the day, I know deep down it killed him because he knew he was good and it got up over drugs. The day he went home, as he got fired, he said he stayed up for 8 days straight and did non-stop coke and started hallucinating because he couldn't believe he lost everything he just gained.
Though Matt Bourne has been fired, the character of Doink the Clown makes his return at the very next show. Only this time, there's another wrestler under the grease paint.
A character cannot usually be readily replaced. But in this case, I think the sentiment was he's a clown. We'll put someone else in the exact same makeup. And it was successful, as portrayed by Steve Kern and later by Ray Apollo. But it was never as good as it was when Matt wore the paint.
They figured since Steve did this with Matt that maybe he could pull it off. Then they brought Dink because they were trying to keep it alive.
I mean, Doink the Clown and Dink, they were mainstays.
You can stick anybody in a Doink suit, and it's a great character that way. So Matt came and gone, and a lot of folks don't even realize he came and gone.
And that's when he went way down. How he came to Elwood City, I don't know because it's such a small town, but it was meant to be. That's where he met my mom.
He worked for the telemarketing company right around the corner. He went from a millionaire to us, you know, like just making a weekly check, and it didn't work with him up there. He had some issues, you know, with his alcohol and his drug addiction, which he didn't do in front of me, but I still knew there was something weird about him, right? You know, he paid the rent, he paid the bills, he didn't want me working, he didn't want me socializing. Not too many men talk to me, put it that way. And that's the way Matt wanted it. He knew what he was doing. One night we were at a bar, and my ex-boyfriend ended up walking in and came up and spit on me for some reason. And I saw Matt coming at him, and I'm like, dude, you need to run. Well, Matt picked him up by his earlobes, legit earlobes, off the ground, and was screaming in his face, spitting all over him because he didn't have his two teeth there. The guy went out, got in his car. Matt had the back of his car lifted up, the two wheels off the ground, spinning like crazy, and he's holding the car there. And the cops came. They maced him, tased him. I'm like, might want to shoot him in the leg. He's not going to stop. So then they put him in jail, and he kept telling him, take your badge and your guns off, fight me like a man. And that's when he ripped the sink out in the jail cell, like literally ripped it out of its plumbing.
Stripped of the beloved character he'd brought to life, Matt returns to the wrestling business. But the business has changed.
Nobody wanted Maniac Matt Bourne, nobody wanted Big Josh the Lumberjack, they all wanted Doink. I mean, he still had the costume, he knew how to put the makeup on, he could do it himself.
Matt even takes his Doink character to the last place anyone would expect a clown. The violent renegade company known as Extreme Championship
ECW.
This is ECW. That clown is in the wrong place.
I was in ECW when Matt Bourne came in, and it was effective because on the surface, ECW fans hated it because it was Doink the Clown. But underneath that hatred, there was that level of respect because he was Matt Bourne.
How does it feel to live in my hell?
I think the Born Again gimmick was half clown, half Matt Bourne.
Vince McMahon found out he was on all these independent promoters' cards because it was his copyright. It was. So Vince McMahon sent legal papers.
When we created that thing, I had to sign the copyrights over to Vince. Now, I was kind of bitter about it. He had never sent me any residual money for all my dolls and videos and stuff, which I was supposed to get a piece of. So I had countersued him for my residuals.
Midwest Territorial Wrestling! It's the best!
So Vince was like, all right, that's fair, but you can't use Doink, and you get your residuals every month.
As Matt struggles to rebuild his career, his home life is upended by the arrival of two more children.
I can remember when Tegan was born, he looked at her, and he looked at me, and he said, she's going to be something someday, and he adored her. And of course, his boy, my son, Matthew, he adored him too, because that was his second chance. He had two other kids. He didn't get to see them, he didn't get to raise them, but me and him, when we ended up having two kids, they were his life.
I just try to remember the good times. And when he was clean, he was a completely different human being. I mean, he was so put together, has nothing negative to say. I mean, he was my dad.
I think he thought, I gotta bring myself back because I'm not myself anymore. Like, I'm a wrestler, that's what I do.
Though striving to reclaim his glory in the wrestling industry, Matt's battles with addiction continue to threaten his aspirations.
That's crazy. That's insane. They didn't bring up anything about the Brooklyn Brawler or anything, right? Or is it the same guy, the Brooklyn Brawler? Matt Bourne? Isn't it the same guy? Thoughts on the what are the top 5 most wanted treasures of all time? I'd say the Winged Eagle title made by Reg Parks. That would be a treasure. The original Big Gold title in WCW. These are treasures that are very difficult to attain, by the way, but and not very many other treasures. I'm not a materialistic kind of guy. Thoughts on the Truth Commission? I never was a fan of them. Thoughts on Nation of Domination? I thought they had a good presence. Lore, what WWE pay-per-view do you want WWE to bring back? That's a good one. I'd say Armageddon. Okay, Brian Campbell, you've seen Rey Mysterio brought back 2 fans. New Eddie Guerrero, old classic Cars Raider. Sure. What 3 gimmick matches you did not like? The hog pen match, I thought it was ridiculous. Even when I was a kid, I said, this is just so stupid. Viagra on a pole match. In fact, anything on a pole match. Just horrible, horrendous. And I'd say another gimmick match I really dislike. I didn't like lumberjack matches. They were terrible as well, in my opinion. What 3 past events would you want to relive from your everyday life and why? What's up, Ghost Ranger? That's a good question. That's a very good question. I'm going to really have to think about that.
His ongoing issues with drugs and alcohol make him unpredictable and dangerous.
He went and got clean a few times, and I stood by his side the whole time, because everybody else just washed him away like he was nothing. If he was on too much drugs or too much alcohol, he would just get very violent, mean, and be crazy. If I could be upstairs sleeping with my son, he'd be like, "Why were you out tonight with so-and-so?" I'm like, "What?" I thought, this guy needs help. Like, I just can't turn my back on him. He got me one time, super good. He went to the gym. He would go to the gym for like 2-3 hours a day. So I was just reading the newspaper on our couch. He walked up the steps, accused me of cheating on him. The next I know, I'm in the hospital. He beat me up real good. I couldn't see for 2 weeks. My eyeballs were shut. He broke my nose. And yes, you're probably going to say, why did you go back with him? Down in my heart, like the next day he saw me after he got out of jail, he was like, "What happened to your face? Did I do that?" He literally don't remember any of it. He said, "I am truly, truly sorry."
Terrible.
And I forgave him.
As Matt's drug use becomes even more extreme, his downward spiral intensifies.
And my mom thought, you know, he loved to drink. And when he drank, he said some really effed up shit.
Finally, one day, I don't know what it was, I grabbed both their hands. I said, "Matt, I can't do this anymore. I have been here through thick and thin with you." I said, "I'm not taking anything with me. I am done."
She hurried up, packed the bag. She was scared. I remember her being so scared.
And I walked out the door and he didn't come after me because I thought he was going to. I thought, Jesus, if this is going to be the day, he's going to kill me. And he went, "I understand." And he let me go.
It takes a lot of balls to leave somebody like that when they don't have the ability to get clean or get better.
Strung out and landing at rock bottom, Matt's behavior in the ring becomes as unpredictable as his behavior at home.
When Matt didn't like you, it was a wrap. And he's not going to let it go. Like, he's that type of person to not let
Oh, they're going to show the hacksaw. Uh-oh, they're going to show it.
Plains, New York. And look at the board. I'm working with Matt.
White Plains.
Hey, Matt, how's it going? He goes, "Well, Hacksaw, how about I come out, I hit you with a chair. You hit me with a 2x4. I'm like, "Matt, there's 100 people out there, brother. I'll come out, I'll cheer USA. We'll have a nice walk and talk."
Jim had something he did that
There's
was
100 people out there.
and Matt wanted more.
Just so happens that my opponent tonight, we go way, 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 way back.
Long story short, we're in the ring, and he gave me a nut shot.
All right, gentlemen.
Tried to hurt me.
Hacksaw going to work.
It's a shoot. So I rolled up and pushed him in the corner, and I'm asking him, you want to work or you want to shoot, brother?
Let's go. You want to work or fight? Tell me.
He rolls out of the ring and grabs a chair. Well, I got my 2x4. So I tell the referee, I said, tell him we'll finish in the dressing room like you're supposed to do. So I wait, and I wait, and I wait. Well, Matt, he came out of the ring, went right out the fire exit, got in his car and left. It was pre-planned attack.
You have to make a real attempt at not liking Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He's not a divisive
A planned
personality.
attack.
It's like everybody likes Jim Duggan. Like,
for him to make that move for 30 years after the incident, that's carrying a grudge.
By 2013, Matt has moved to Plano, Texas, where he lives with a new girlfriend.
I met Matt in 1988-89, and I was actually me, Nurse Cratchit.
Here comes Nurse Cratchit.
I would just, bing him with my bedpan, knock him out. My name is Connie Cook, and I was Matt Bourne's girlfriend. He was crazy, I was crazy, and we just hit it off. 2011, he found me on Facebook, then he just never left my side. I loved him, and I wanted to make it work. That's why I moved to Texas. Some days it was good, some days it wouldn't. After I moved to Texas, I was stressing about my mom. She was very sick, and he took care of my mom. He cooked for her, he gave her medicine. I knew he had my back, and I definitely had his.
It was June of 2013, and I was getting up for softball practice. My mom texted me and said, I think your dad's dead, because we saw it on TMZ. My mom said she called my dad's cell phone, and Connie answered the phone. She was like crying hysterically. My mom said, what the happened, Connie?
I said, Connie, do not tell me he's dead.
I know Connie killed my dad. I will never not think that she did. She took him away from me, and I hate her for it.
She thinks she killed her dad? Conspiracy theories, huh? So Rory asks, what 3 past events would you want to relive from your everyday life, and why? I mean, I could go back in time to like my grandfather's 80th birthday party. That was one hell of a time. I guess when I received confirmation, and when I graduated from Baruch. Maybe my senior prom too. My senior prom was pretty good too. Do I think Roman's heel turn has been like what Vince was thinking? I think so, possibly. Oh, Brooklyn Brawl is Steve Lombardi. Thanks for that clarification, Roy. I was confused. Legitimately confused. Michael Maroney asked, if I was in charge of WWE, who would you hire from AEW? I'd hire MJF. He's pretty top notch right now. Wardlow's the future. He's the future. And honestly, not sure who else I would hire from that company. I would like to see Billy Gunn return, honestly. Garrett asks, which pay-per-view match you hated the most? The dog kennel from Hell match with Al Snow and Big Boss Man. That was a big letdown. That was a huge letdown. I mean, they promoted that match like crazy, and it was just a horrible match. And the thing is that Poppy, for some reason, like he let us order like one pay-per-view a month, but for some reason he said, I guess he was a little short that month. He said, okay, you can either order SummerSlam or this pay-per-view, which is I think fully loaded or something. You can't order both. Order one or the other. And because of that match, I said, we want to see that match. So we didn't order SummerSlam that year. We ordered that pay-per-view. And that was a horrible letdown. I was like, oh, no. We're not going to see SummerSlam now because of this shit. Who from ECW do you want to join WWE Hall of Fame? WrestleMania 4 is in Philly. I'd say Sandman, Rhino, is Bam Bam Bigelow in the Hall of Fame? Taz, Shane Douglas. I mean, the whole crew, really. Am I doing the drawing for the pendants for channel members anytime soon? Yeah, I think I'll coordinate that next to Money in the Bank. Who in your eyes have been the worst 4 Royal Rumble winners of all time? If it comes to mind, Batista.
Matt has passed. Tragic news confirmed by a phone call with Matt's girlfriend, Connie Cook.
I said, okay, so, like, what happened? She goes, well, he stole all my mom's drugs.
I'll think of the others.
He's dead. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this wasn't in the cards. How am I supposed to take care of these kids, right? They were 12 and 15. Sorry, getting emotional. But it changed everything in our lives. Everything.
It's a shame.
Before my dad died, my mom was on the phone with him, and he said, Michelle, I called you because I'm leaving Connie.
He went, I told the crazy bitch I'm leaving her. I said, oh, Jesus Christ. We giggled, and then he went, well, you know what? If anything does happen to me, Michelle, don't let it go. I said, Matt, what are you talking about? Why did you say that? He went, seriously, just don't let it go.
The day that all this happened, he was moaning in the kitchen. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Nothing. So then he does it again, moans again. And so he turns around and falls to his knee, and he grabbed my hand and goes, marry me. I said, oh my God, you're really on my nerve right now. I think he might have been having a heart attack, and he just wouldn't tell me. And he wore glasses. And so he was like, Connie, I can't find my glasses. So I'd go retrace the steps, kitchen, my mom's bedroom. Well, I noticed that one of the bottles was moved. I was like, Matt, that medicine is from hospice. I was like, we're going to be in trouble if you don't tell me where those are. And he said to me, well, I guess I'll just go to jail. And I was like, that's just crazy.
Wow.
So I go to bed, and later on, I don't even know what time it was, I hear somebody beating on the door. And there's a girl at the door. She was like, my brothers found your husband laying on the ground outside. They think he's dead.
It was like a gated community kind of place where everybody could see everything that's going on in your life. And there was witnesses. They saw him. He was stumbling, falling over air conditioners. He was bruised.
So I heard sirens, and I was like, Matt, you need to get up, because I think someone's called the police on you for being drunk out here because they said you were on the ground. So we get him to his feet. We set him down in the recliner by the door. That time I didn't know he was ODing. Well, I went in and got in the bed, and I could hear him snoring. So I didn't think anything was wrong with him because he snored.
You were watching him overdose, and you did nothing.
That's horrible.
If you saw someone puking in their mouth and gagging on it, wouldn't you think there was something wrong?
Sure.
According to Plano police reports, on the morning Matt died, Connie awoke at 6:30 a.m. and saw Matt gurgling and foaming at the mouth. After calling her friend, Connie went back to bed. At 9 a.m., 2.5 hours after she first woke up, Connie called 911.
Wow.
We're going to address really specifically some of these allegations.
Okay.
That once Matt was already in the house and you put him down in the recliner that you heard gurgling, what did you do next?
That was like early in the morning. My alarm usually went off 6 o'clock, 6:30. Yeah, I heard him all night snoring. But when I came out of the bedroom, there's something coming out of his nose, and so I grabbed the rag and I was like, hey, what, you need to get up. That's nasty. And he was making a different noise. So I called my friend in Tennessee, and I leaned over the counter and was trying to let her listen to it. And I said, do you hear that? She said, Connie, that's a death rattle. She was like, hang up right now and call 911. It's not like I just left him sitting there. I mean, it might have been 5 minutes until I called my friend. I didn't go back to bed.
Because it wasn't until 9 that you called 911.
No, they have that wrong. I didn't go back to bed. As soon as I hung up talking to her, I called 911. And they snatched him up and put him on the gurney, trying to get the thing down his throat. And they were like, we gotta go now. I mean, dude was on top of him, pounding on him. I'm just like, now I'm really freaking out. And then the detective came in, and I told her what I knew. We went in the room. She found the bottle. I think there was maybe 30 missing out of the bottle, so I don't know how many he actually had taken. And so I left and went to the hospital and went and saw him, and so I'm screaming at Matt to get up. And then they were trying to make me leave, and I literally wouldn't leave the room because they were trying to put him in the dark. And Matt hated the dark.
What was the official cause of Matt's death?
Overdose of hydrocodone and morphine and an enlarged heart.
Connie believes Matt's heart issues were a secret he had kept for a very long time.
When he was in WWF, he went to the hospital because he was having, I guess, chest pains. And so they hooked him up to a EKG machine. I think they wanted to do something, but Matt never did. And then when he passed away, I called the coroner's office to find out exactly, what they found out. His heart was 6 times the normal size. And I was like, what does that mean?
6 times.
Substance abuse, stress. I think he's worried about
Steroids,
it.
probably. Drugs.
I called the ambulance when I realized that there was something wrong with him. I did everything to help him.
With his backstory, and he has a track record for being on drugs. On his death certificate, it was accidental overdose. Of course, it's easy to put that down because of who he was. But no.
When I hung up with him, she was about to bring him out a drink.
He probably got a thing of Crown. She mixed some liquid morphine in there, and he's probably up out of his mind. And he sat on the recliner. He laid there and died all night. He was foaming out the mouth. I'm confused. Why'd you wait all night to call 911? There was foul play.
I'm just flabbergasted that someone would even think that of me. I feel horrible. I'm horrified that child would think that.
Keep blinking.
Allegations are crazy. They're not true. I did not kill him. I did not put anything in his drink. I love him. I still love him to this day. And still wish that he was here. Why would I want to kill him?
She keeps blinking.
If it meant me dying and leaving here for him to be alive, I would be dead and he would be here.
She keeps blinking.
Investigation
I don't believe it.
The Police Department found no evidence of any criminal conduct, no evidence that Matt Bourne was deliberately drugged with liquid morphine by Connie Cook, and no evidence of negligence in her response to Matt Bourne's overdose.
No evidence. I don't know. That's just insane. You could hire 5 people from the stream for WWE. Who would they be and why? If I could hire 5 people from the stream for WWE, who would they be and why? I'd say Rory, you'll be at the top of the list. I mean, you do good storylines, and you could be a writer per se. See Johnny Boots because he's a crazy SOB. Yeah. Poppy Ed because he's downright entertaining. If I had to choose 2 more, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Ghost Ranger, because he's actually becoming a wrestler as we speak, an up and comer. And one more, I have to go with King L. Moxley, because he's got a very good mind. Yeah, Brian, I know Bam Bam Bigelow passed away too. Thank you to all our channel members here. Thank you again, guys. Much appreciated. Garrett asks, if I was in an elimination chamber, who would you want to eliminate first? Whoever comes my way. Make it Brock. Let's make it big. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Bam Bam Bigelow, Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, Kelly Kelly, Sable. Those are great picks, Brian. Yeah, that pizza looked insane, Rory. You almost made me have another cheat day. My best man at my wedding, I don't know yet. Maybe Johnny Boots and Poppy. Who will do the toast? Either one of those guys. All right, we're back.
Matt Bourne, known to wrestling fans as Doink the Clown, dies. According to the autopsy, it was from an overdose of opiates.
I remember that day very vividly, going into that funeral home, and my brother, like, that was his first funeral ever. He was like, "Why is he so cold?" And I lost it. I mean, that was really tough.
The worst thing of all this was watching them two look over their dad in that casket. And there was nothing I could do, a hug, a kiss, nothing that I could take away their pain.
You know, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been terrible. I mean, I struggled with depression for a little bit. I lost a lot of friends. And I kind of felt like my dad in that moment, now that I look back at it. He lost so many people because of his actions. And it was like, damn, now I know how this dude felt. No wonder why he did drugs. Because he felt like shit all the time.
I heard comments that people have made about me. You know, the reason I got Doink over is because I'm a sick motherfucker, need some serious help. There's times that I think that too, you know, but who isn't? You know, I mean, come on. You're not getting into the ring with some jabroni that puts on some clown outfit and calls himself Doink. It's Matt Bourne.
Matt lived fast and hard, and so it did not come as a shock when I learned that Matt had passed. He seemed to have a lot going for him. But ultimately, Matt's biggest adversary was not a wrestler, but his demons. From a substance standpoint and the temperament issue he struggled with, his legacy is of a guy who willingly gave more to the wrestling business than it gave back. And a guy whose weaknesses were exploited by the nature of the beast. Constant travel, the strain on relationships, the pain involved that opens the door to medication. Matt Bourne meant a lot to wrestling and to anyone who saw Matt at his best, which was not in the national spotlight, but in those regional territories.
Bourne rolls him back.
He connected and he made a difference.
This picture is actually 2 weeks before Matt passed, with his son Matthew at the airport leaving. Very sad.
Yeah, Matthew was always sad when Dad left.
Yeah, it tore him up.
This picture is one of my favorites because it's one of the last I got with him. But this picture, he was like, "Come on, T, we got to get one picture before I leave." And I'm like, "All right." Yeah, this is one of my favorites. And his big hands back there too. It looks like a spider, but it's it's huge ass hand. So
sad to see him go. This is all we have left of him.
yeah.
We all have these troubled souls. We're all troubled souls, if we look at it, obviously. But Matt had talent. Matt had a legacy. He made Doink the Clown bigger than it ever should have been, in my opinion. And that gets covered up by some of his transgressions outside the ring.
From time to time, when Matt had a few drinks, he would open up about the pain of being an absentee dad, and I really think that bothered Matt.
Yeah, he had a lot of regrets about marriages, about his kids, and I seen that firsthand.
I never gave up on him through all that bad stuff we did go through. I knew he was a good person. The horrible things that my kids read about their dad, just Doink was a drug addict, he was a piece of shit, washed up wrestler, that he was not that. Yes, he did do his share of drugs, and he did make mistakes, just like every other human being. But I just want people to know that that's not what he was. I want him to be remembered as a great father. He wanted to raise those two kids.
I miss them, not gonna lie, but they miss them way more.
One thing my mom always told me, she's like, well, Tegan, when you were born, your dad said she's gonna be something someday. And every time my mom says that, it makes me feel like he's still here a little bit. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not no Doink the Clown. I'm not no famous wrestler, but when I graduated college, I graduated with almost a 4.0. I graduated magna cum laude, took these CPA exams that were so hard, got a job right out of college. I'm a certified public accountant. And then you just get the little negative part where I'm like, damn, like, he should be here. We had our little rough patches. We butted heads, and now that I'm getting older, I realize we butted heads so much because we were so much alike. And now I wish I could just say, you know what, Dad, I'm sorry. Wasn't perfect, but he was my dad, so.
Great. Tonight's episode was really good with Doink the Clown. Really good episode. It's Johnny Boots! Hello, Johnny Boots. Welcome to the stream. How many Doinks were there? There were quite a few. What's up, Eric Freeman? Saber, definitely a wild episode. What character would you have put on heel Cena? I'm not sure what that means, but do you think WWE dropped the ball on turning Cena heel? They definitely did. Unbroken. Buck Zumhofe? Who's that? Who's Buck Zumhofe? It's a good episode, though. I actually enjoyed tonight's episode. I mean, it was very insightful. Very insightful. If I got to speak to... talk to Dark Side of the Ring producers again. Jason Eisner, he was on this stream before, actually. What would you tell them? I'd tell them they're doing a great job and keep up the good work. Definitely need more episodes. And I have more ideas. I mean, he took all of our ideas last time, Roy. I mean, your ideas too. When you play a clown, which I have in Shakespeare, it's a lot of fun. I'm sure it is. Buck Zumhofe. Kevin Sullivan? Will they do an episode of Kevin Sullivan? I mean, I hope so. I mean, I would hope so. Michael Maroney says, if you were in charge of WWE, would you buy out AEW and why? No, I wouldn't buy out AEW. I don't think it's worth that much. I would probably poach their talent, but I wouldn't buy them out, even if I had the money. What Doink family members or what Doink will receive royalties? That's a good question. I don't know if Doink's family members are receiving royalties. I don't know how that works with royalties, if it passes down to the next of kin or some sort. I don't know. Buck was the mullet guy that played an air guitar in only NWA. Really? Broken says Shakespeare was not real. It was predictive programming from the oligarchs. Down the rabbit hole. Really? Who would you trade from WWE to AEW if you were in charge of WWE? Trade from WWE to AEW? Maroney? Honestly, yeah. I mean, any of the mid-card talent in WWE could definitely go down to AEW, make some waves. If they could bring back Tough Enough, would you try to enter it? Sure, Garrett. You know, I tried to enter last time. They turned me down. So, it's okay. Triple H emailed me, said there's a lot of stiff competition, and unfortunately we had to pass. So I got so upset I deleted it. I wish I kept it because it would be a memento. I got so mad I deleted the email. I wish I kept it, honestly. It would have been cool because it had Triple H's name on it and everything, his seal. It was cool. But I got so mad I deleted it. Yeah, on Broker they said there were quite a few doinks after Matt Bourne. Scott Hall will receive 4 cents of every dollar of merch sold. So you get 4% commission. That's like me. I get 3% commission for anything that's sold using my links. For www.shop.com or eBay, anything of that nature. Have you ever thought of doing IWF Boots versus you again like the old times? I don't know, honestly. I will say this, back in the day when we were doing IWF, we would have killed to have an audience like you guys. Like, I mean, that would be a dream come true for us to actually perform for you guys over a live audience over YouTube, which I don't think was that much of a thing back then. I mean, it was just starting. But, yeah, I mean, that would have been cool. That would have been really cool. There you go, guys. Subscribe to my brother Johnny Boots. He's in the chat. If you guys have not already. He just posted up a new video about being an actor in New York City. So you guys might want to check that out. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, Roy, I mean, it's a shame. Oh, definitely Unbroken, but I don't know who would get the royalties if they passed, you know? Oh, yeah, Garrett, it's already been removed, the mod. Yeah, it's already been removed, but yeah, it's really crazy. Any plans for 4th of July? I'm not sure yet. Maybe a barbecue or two. I don't know. How about you guys? Yeah, I'm not sure yet. Definitely want to have a good time, though. And you know, the Money in the Bank is on the 1st, I believe, on a Saturday. So don't forget, top 3 trivia scores will win a prize. Top 3 trivia scores will win a prize, and the prizes hopefully will be here by next week. Okay, guys. So I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you all be safe and be well. Hope you enjoy yourselves, and I'll catch you guys. If you don't see me until SmackDown, then it's a possibility, but just keep your notifications on so you never know if I may post up a video in between. Your plans to eat as many triples. Oh, that's great, Roy. Yeah. You got promoted from doubles to triples. That's great. Oh yeah, sure, Roy. I mean, yeah, it depends. Maybe I'll give them away to channel members. Yeah, Boots, yeah, there wasn't just one Shakespeare, I don't think. I think WWE should split the tag belts, Rory. I mean, it would be better for everybody, I think. Your plans to make fun of people eating corn dogs. Absolutely. You want a hot dog, you eat a hot dog. All right, good night, everybody. Be safe, be well. MATTROISE signing out. Catch you guys next time.